Crossing the gaming world, Xiao Hong was stuck in practicing Qi for 100 years. Facing various unknown dangers and the upcoming fourth-day disaster. Players, Xiao Hong decided to become an ordinary NPC and did everything possible to survive until the end. As an NPC, is it normal for him to post tasks to players? What, cutting player leaks? Nothing, this is pure slander. What, someone found out that his health bar is thicker than the final boss. Defamation, he's just a little gas honing. Player. Ah, yes, your home is practicing Qi second Mahayana. Novel keyword. After practicing Qi for 100 years, have I become an NPC? No pop-ups, after practicing Qi for 100 years, have I become an NPC? Download the complete TXT collection. After practicing Qi for 100 years, have I become an NPC? Latest chapter reading. When can I break through gas refining in chapter 1? You are listening at novelfull.audio. When can I break through gas refining in chapter 1? Lingwu Mountain. In the purple bamboo forest. The man in white sat on the ground, writing in contemplation. Amidst the fluttering purple bamboo leaves, the man had a handsome face and an indescribable calm and poetic silhouette. Not far away, several disciples whispered to each other. Senior brother has been sitting for 2 hours now, doesn't he need to practice? You're a newcomer, don't you understand? Our senior brother is a god, he's right not to cultivate. Do you know how long our senior brother has been learning? The older disciple spoke mysteriously, and upon seeing the new person's bewildered expression, he quietly reached out his finger and gestured. It's been over 100 years. I heard he never practiced for so many years. Why? It is said that he is walking his own path, and some people say he cannot cultivate. After all these years, it is only a period of Qi cultivation, who knows? Ha! That's senior sister Shi, right? She came to the purple bamboo forest again. It seems like we haven't seen each other for a while. Master asked senior sister Shi to come and visit senior brother every 30 days. It seems like she hasn't come since she's closed up. Alright, stop talking, senior sister doesn't like to hear this. Listening to whispers in the distance, Sushi paused as she walked into the purple bamboo forest, feeling a surge of dissatisfaction in her heart that made her face look ugly. Sushi, a useless senior brother who has been practicing Qi for 100 years, really looks down on him from the bottom of his heart. But unfortunately, the master insisted that she come to visit every 30 days, no matter how much she refused. I heard it was still the request of this useless senior brother. It's really annoying. However, at this moment, Xiao Hong, who was facing away from everyone, was already restless and wanted to pat his pen. It's been over 100 years, so when can I break through the process of refining Qi? Yes, Xiao Hong is a traveler. And this world is the world of the large-scale online game 9 Heroes Immortals. In his past life, Xiao Hong was the most loyal player of 9 Heroes Immortals. He had been fighting on the front line of land reclamation for a long time, familiar with all the storylines, and proficient in various dungeons. As a game known for its realism and rich storyline, 9 Heroes Immortals is undoubtedly popular, and many people even marvel that it is not like a game in reality. Xiao Hong also sighed like this before, and then he slipped into the game, speaking freely. And it's been over 100 years now, without a system, no grandpa with him, except for a game panel that he traveled with, he became a complete indigenous. Then it's been 100 years and no players have arrived yet. Without players, the plot of this world has not yet unfolded, and all kinds of dungeon treasures have not been opened. He is also forced to spend 100 years refining Qi because he cannot complete advanced tasks. Open the game panel, Xiao Hong whispered in his heart. In my mind, a panel slowly appeared. Name: Xiao Hong. Category: Human race. Talent: 10, at full level. Level 10, Qi cultivation. Experience. 30,000/100, please complete the advanced task upgrade. Sect. Lingwu Mountain. Type. Normal NPC. Due to time travel, his player panel even turned into an NPC panel. Even if you become an NPC, you still need to do advanced tasks to upgrade, which is outrageous. Senior brother. The girl's voice sounded in the purple bamboo forest. Xiao Hong turned around and saw Su Shi in a white dress. Su Shi, who is 19 years old this year, has a game NPC standard proud curve. A childish little face now carries anger, and the combination of simplicity and charm is very pleasing to the eye. Here we go. Xiao Hong nodded at her and said, "We've made a breakthrough." The tone is full of envy. Su Shi was taken aback at the words. Senior brother only had to practice Qi and cultivate, how could he see that she had broken through the foundation building? Forget it, it's a coincidence. However, this senior brother is really seriously ill. If she doesn't practice, she's fine. She nags and asks strange questions every day. She has only been in the field for 2 years and has already broken through her Qi cultivation period, becoming a foundation builder. Surprisingly, this useless senior brother has been stuck in Qi cultivation for a whole 100 years, which is outrageous. Such a person is not worthy of being her senior brother. Xiao Hong seemed unable to see Su Shi's disgusted expression and asked with a faint smile, "Has junior sister ever?" "No. I didn't receive it." Su Shi interrupted impatiently. Xiao Hong paused without getting angry, not even changing his smile. With a smile, he finished his sentence and said, "Did you ever receive a task from Haiyan village?" The village was full of dwarfs, and the village chief was blind. Su Shi patiently said, "I've sent someone to investigate. There are so many Haiyan villages in the world, and there's not the one you mentioned. Can you stop asking this question? You've asked it dozens of times already. Really, how could there be a village full of dwarves? The village chief is still blind. How can a blind person become a village chief? Senior brother is indeed seriously ill." Xiao Hong sighed with some regret. Is it still not there? The game 9 Heroes Immortals is very strange. Before its release, there was no inside information, and no news was even revealed. It wasn't until the release that a promotional video was released. The content of the promotional video is a village full of dwarves, and the village chief is still blind. There seem to be many strange secrets in the village. Then a huge and handsome NPC with a childlike appearance received a mission to explore the village, leading the players into this strange world. The village behind it has become a beginner's village for players, and the first advanced task to break through and practice Qi is also in this village. At first glance, Xiao Hong knew that Su Shi was the NPC in the promotional video. He begged the master who was hesitating whether to take Su Shi as his disciple to take her in and requested to see her once a month. It has been 2 years since the result, and there has been no movement at all. Let's just forget about it. Xiao Hong quickly tidied up his mood, looking gentle and elegant. After speaking, he couldn't help but remind. If you receive this task, be sure to tell me. You're not finished. Su Shi's face turned red with anger. I've told you all, I sent someone to investigate. There's no such village in this world. How could there be a village full of dwarves? Oh, Xiao Hong nodded, so you must tell me when you receive this task. Su Shi. Su Shi almost pouted in anger and realized that there was no way to communicate, so she turned around and walked away. She's going to find her master. She doesn't want to come see this inexplicable guy every month anymore. And this damn purple bamboo forest, she won't come again. Even if she was scolded to death by her master, chased by someone, or died outside, she would never come. Su Shi held her breath in her heart and went all the way to the master's resting place. When she saw the ethereal and tranquil master, who seemed like a fairy, she couldn't hold back the little grievance in her heart and pitifully shouted, "Master!" Song Qinyao was momentarily stunned when he saw his young apprentice, then quickly nodded and said, "Xiaoxi." She just wanted to pour out the bitter water, roast about her inexplicable senior brother, and heard her fairy-like master say, "You came just in time. I have a task assigned to you." She was taken aback and asked subconsciously, "What task?" "A while ago, someone discovered a strange village that appeared out of thin air. Someone needs to explore it, and I'm going to let you take a look." She immediately forgot about the neurotic senior brother and nodded quickly, "Okay." She hasn't completed any missions yet, so she must perform well on her first mission and leave a good impression on her master. Well, it shouldn't be a big deal. According to the investigators, the village is full of ordinary people. Just go check if there are any strange things. She nodded like pounding garlic, looking expectant and saying, "Okay, what kind of village is it?" After a moment of thought, Song Qinyao tapped her fair and slender fingers lightly on the rosewood table and said, "It seems like it's called Haiyan Village. It's full of dwarfs inside, and the village chief is still blind." Sushi. Sushi. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Senior brother is going down the mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Senior brother is going down the mountain. Is there really a black rock village in this world? Sushi let out an incredible murmur. What's wrong? Song Qinyao looked at the youngest disciple and frowned slightly. Just, senior brother told me about this village. Sushi's face turned slightly red, and her heart was filled with disbelief. This useless senior brother is so accurate. There really is such a strange village in this world. So why didn't she find anything before? Is it fake? Song Qingyuan's cold expression froze slightly, and his gaze softened as he said, "What Honger said." She didn't seem surprised, and there was indeed such a sense of relief. She was very strange when she saw this. She couldn't help roast, "Master, why is the eldest martial brother still practicing qi for so many years? He still says strange things all day. Xiao Hong is the most talented disciple I have ever seen in all these years." Song Qingyuan calmly glanced at the angry little girl Sushi. Sushi's face was full of disbelief and he said, "Is it just him? Sushi has a good background and has been pampered by her family since childhood. Later, she was accepted as a disciple by a sect like Lingwu Mountain, and she has always been extremely proud." She looked down on that useless senior brother and was naturally shocked at the moment. "At first, I didn't think about whether to take you as an apprentice or not. It was he who begged me, otherwise. Otherwise, you may not be able to enter Lingwu Mountain," said Song Qinyao for a moment. Sushi is foolish. Half an hour later, in the purple bamboo forest, Xiao Hong looked at the girl in front of him who was clearly feeling lethargic, with a somewhat complicated expression. Is the mission of Haiyan Village finally about to begin? He muttered subconsciously, his heart pounding wildly after 100 years of silence. He is too clear about what this task means. The emergence of Haiyan Village from nothingness is the first step towards changing this world. Next, players arrive and all the main and branch lines of this world officially open. Human purgatory, demon invasion, immortal sect internal struggle, divine demon war, cataclysm of heaven. In order to provide players with playability, various disasters, endless powerful enemies, and a variety of dungeons will appear one by one. As a player, these are certainly fun. As saviors, they rely on the levels and equipment they have created with infinite lives to watch the world they have changed, and naturally feel a great sense of achievement. But for the indigenous people, these are a bit deadly. In Xiao Hong's memory, the world would be destroyed several times in the future and would fall into unparalleled chaos. It was truly a world where experts ran everywhere and immortals were as lowly as grass. 3 days 1 difficulty, 6 days 1 disaster, 9 days 1 restart. Compared to players with unlimited resurrection opportunities, NPCs suffer a lot. In this situation, it is estimated that only a very small number of NPCs can survive until the end, otherwise they will all turn into knives for players. Xiao Hong doesn't want to die yet. Although he has been practicing hard for over 100 years and trying his best to collect various life-saving cards, he still has no confidence in surviving in this deformed world. However, it's not without any benefits. At least I can finally break through the practice of qi. Xiao Hong murmured, almost crying with joy. Who understands the pain he suffered from being stuck in refining qi for 100 years? Who understands? If it weren't for the fact that although he couldn't break through, he could still continue to cultivate, he would really go crazy. He couldn't wait for the player to come, and he was even worried that he might soar in the qi refining period, which was truly unique in heaven and earth. Xiao Hong took a deep breath and turned to look at Su Shi, saying seriously, "I'll come down the mountain with you." A question mark slowly popped up on Su Shi's forehead. Su Shi even thought she had heard wrong, so she instinctively dug out her ear and said, "What are you saying?" Xiao Hong smiled with a good temper and patiently repeated, "I said I'll come down the mountain with you." Su Shi's face was filled with black question marks. The entire Lingwu mountain knows that Xiao Hong, a strange creature, has not descended the mountain for over 100 years since entering. No matter how many things happened in the past 100 years, no matter how others tried to persuade him, Xiao Hong remained unmoved and didn't even go out of the purple bamboo forest much. Although this purple bamboo forest has rich spiritual energy and can achieve twice the result with half the effort, it seems that he hasn't practiced either. But now, he actually says he's going down the mountain. Shocked junior sister for 100 years. No, you're going with me. Su Shi's voice even changed tone due to excessive shock. I don't want it. She finally came up with a mission, hoping to make a big splash with this one. Why do you still need to bring a useless senior brother? This senior brother has been stuck in practicing qi all along. Even if his strength is not as good as hers, it's okay. He keeps nagging and nagging all day, which can seriously drag her down. She shouldn't go down the mountain with him. Xiao Hong clearly didn't expect her to refuse. He was stunned for a moment and scratched his head with some embarrassment. Well, I'll go talk to my master. I can go with someone else as well. Who wants to go with you, this useless person? Stop daydreaming. You're such a useless person who obviously drags others down. Su Shi was very speechless, but didn't say much either. The two of them went together to find Song Qingyuan. Coincidentally, Song Qinyao was currently discussing matters with others, and when the two of them arrived, the crowd had not yet dispersed. When they learned that Xiao Hong was going down the mountain, everyone was stunned. Even Song Qinyao, who had always been indifferent and as cold as a fairy, widened his eyes in shock and looked at Xiao Hong with a shocked expression on his face. Honger, why are you suddenly going down the mountain? Is something going to happen? Seeing everyone's expressions of fear, Xiao Hong could only comfort them softly. It's okay, there's nothing else at the moment. It's still some time before the players arrive, so it's a bit early to say something happened. Just as Song Qingyuan breathed a sigh of relief, he suddenly realized that it was okay for now, which means something might happen in the future. But before she could continue to panic, Xiao Hong had already spoken. I want to go down the mountain to carry out the mission in Haiyan village, but my junior sister doesn't want to come with me. She wants to ask if anyone else is willing to go with me, master. Xiao Hong blinked his eyes, with a simple and sincere expression on his face. Su Shi sneered in her heart. Who is willing to go with her senior brother, who is such a useless person? You asked so bluntly, I don't even know how to be gentle, that's why a fool is willing to take him as a drag on the oil bottle. As a result, before she could finish venting her frustrations in her heart, she saw her usually extremely stable second senior brother rush out with a fierce roar. I'm willing to go with the first senior brother. It's as if speaking a little slower, and this opportunity will be taken away by someone. Someone is indeed grabbing. The third senior brother, who has always been proud and disdainful of talking nonsense to others, calmly pushed away the second senior brother with a sincere expression on his face and said, "Let me go. I am more careful and can help the eldest senior brother. Su Shi. Su Shi has only been a beginner for 2 years, and her qualifications are still shallow. She is not very familiar with these 2 senior brothers, but this does not prevent her from admiring these 2 talented senior brothers. But at this moment, the person she admires so much is vying for the opportunity to come down the mountain with that useless person. How could this be? Su Shi was a bit dazed, and before she could react, she saw the immortal master, who had always been divine and agile, cough lightly and said calmly, "I haven't come down the mountain for a long time, why not?" Su Shi. What? No, why does even the leader want to go? This is too outrageous. Senior brother, this is not appropriate, Song Qinyao interrupted the leader's words softly. Su Shi suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there are still sober people in this world. Then the next moment, she heard Song Qinyao, who was as cold as if he didn't eat human fireworks, say naturally, "Let me go, after all, Honger is my disciple." Su Shi. Su Shi was dumbfounded on the spot, staring blankly at Xiao Hong. Sensing the gaze of the junior sister, Xiao Hong showed an honest smile. Tell a joke, no one wants to go down the mountain with the useless senior brother. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. This is actually a very dangerous world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. This is actually a very dangerous world. Xiao Hong ultimately chose to go down the mountain with Su Shi. Because the trailer was the scene where Su Shi appeared, if it were someone else, Xiao Hong was not sure if he would change the plot. However, after several consecutive blows, this proud junior sister successfully doubted life and no longer opposed him. Xiao Hong expressed great satisfaction with the honest junior sister and earnestly instructed the precautions when going down the mountain. We must act in a low-key manner when going downhill this time. When encountering disputes, one must not easily get involved. When conflicts arise with others, they must be eradicated, and one must not act impulsively. Be careful of the chain reaction. Be careful not to hit your disciple or master, and even if you hit the golden immortal, even the sages will have to take action. Therefore, you cannot leave any traces in your actions, and it is forbidden to hit the young and the old. The world of cultivating immortals is very dangerous. You must keep your wealth hidden and be careful not to be targeted by others. What kind of demon race and demon race should be avoided as far as possible, and only then can you win in the end. Xiao Hong looked serious and meticulous in his teachings, but Su Shi only wanted to roll her eyes. Senior brother is truly worthy of not going down the mountain for over 100 years, he has no understanding of this world at all. There hasn't been a big deal in the world of cultivating immortals for many years. Everyone and Mimi are busy working together to progress and build a better world. The demon clan has not emerged for decades, how could there be such a mess? Have you read this storybook too much? Paper talk is not like that. However, due to being slapped too many times recently, Su Shi also learned to be cautious. Although she felt that this was because her senior brother was worried, she didn't say it. She thinks it's normal that senior brother doesn't understand this world, after all, it's been so long since we've been down the mountain. She should understand senior brother. Thinking of this, Su Shi immediately calmed down. Senior brother, you have been too worried. The cultivation world is very peaceful, and there are no demons anymore. Worried too much. Peace. Xiao Hong sighed. If this world were peaceful, what would players come to play? Is it a single-player game? Online and offline every day. What will the planner eat with? Even though the world is still peaceful because the players have not yet arrived, once the players come, this illusion of peace will be immediately shattered. You know, that's a player. A player who doesn't let go of any grass, tree, or stone. As long as there is anything that can be collected, I'll give you Huohua. As long as there is a chance instance that they can obtain, there is no one that they cannot conquer. Anyone who reveals their health bar, whether you are the ultimate boss or NPC, will be killed. The key is that they can be infinitely reborn and upgraded quickly, which is just like a virus. Xiao Hong doesn't think anyone can survive from their hands. Unfortunately, he can't tell the junior sister about these things. If it weren't for hoping that the junior sister would start the plot, Xiao Hong would have gone alone long ago, but unfortunately, he still needs Su Shi for now. So he could only persuade with emotion and reason, but the effect was minimal. In the end, Xiao Hong could only sigh and say, "Since you don't believe it, then I can only speak with facts." Su Shi was confused and said, "What fact? Didn't you say there are no demons in this world? Then I'll take you to see them." In the southern region, amidst the clouds, Su Shi and Xiao Hong stood together on a high mountain peak, overlooking the endless mountain range. "Senior brother, is there really a big demon that has been sealed for decades here? How did you know?" Su Shi looked puzzled and said, "And why didn't the seniors kill the monsters instead of choosing to seal them?" "This is a good question. If we can kill it, who will still seal it? This little junior sister doesn't look very smart. Perhaps the seniors wanted to leave a gift package for the younger generation, but they didn't expect it to be so useless in later generations that they couldn't even get a gift package." Su Shi. What? Without further ado, Xiao Hong led Su Shi down the mountain and finally found a dim and narrow cave halfway up the mountain. The entrance of the cave was sealed with a giant stone. Seeing this cave, Xiao Hong's heart was filled with joy. He actually had someone explore this place before, but he couldn't find anything. It seems that the world is really changing, and with the emergence of Haiyan Village, these hidden opportunities have also begun to emerge one after another. The game has already started. This cave is sealed with a century-old beauty spider, which is considered one of the smallest bosses in the game. After completing the game, it will reward rich experience and some practical beginner props. However, after all, it is a boss, and in the early stages, players can still be brutally defeated. Xiao Hong's past life was destroyed by this boss 7 or 8 times, which is still fresh in his memory. That's it here. Xiao Hong took a deep breath and lifted his hand to overturn the stone at the entrance of the cave. With his small face tense, Su Shi, who was clearly beginning to feel nervous, slowly walked into the cave. The cave is dark and humid, with walls covered in fluorescent green spiders. The faint fluorescence reflects the entire cave on the shaded side, making it look quite permeable. Su Shi couldn't continue to be stubborn anymore, so she quietly hid behind Xiao Hong and said with some fear, "Senior brother, why don't we just leave?" "No, I want to prove it to you," Xiao Hong said seriously. Su Shi. "You don't have to be so serious." Xiao Hong ignored the scared junior sister and didn't even glance at the little spiders on the cave wall, walking straight towards the depths of the cave. Just as they were about to approach the depths of the cave, a ethereal female voice suddenly sounded, with pleasant and melodious laughter. "Oh my, there's a guest here. Let me take a look. One is to practice chi, the other is to build a foundation. It looks very delicious." A woman with an extremely graceful figure faintly revealed her figure. Unlike her stunning figure that made her blood boil, her lower body was a giant spider, occupying half of the space in the cave. Su Shi's scalp tingled and she felt a little anxious. "Senior brother, let's go quickly." This woman can see through their cultivation at a glance, which only indicates that her cultivation is far above them. At least the pressure she has shown so far has reached the level of the golden elixir. Xiao Hong did not retreat. He casually took Su Shi's long sword pinned to his waist and struck in front of him. Hiss, the surging sword energy swept through the space, causing a huge sound wave. Wherever it went, even the space was cracked, and countless fluorescent green spiders were drawn into the sword's rays, emitting sharp screams. This blow was like cutting through the sky and earth, carrying a tremendous force and unstoppable charge towards the Spider-Woman in the cave. The Spider-Woman's smile froze on her face, and her green eyes were filled with great confusion. She was lost in thought. This is special. What is it? Did I see a fairy? Wait, I haven't even finished my opening statement yet. At least let me finish the opening statement. Young people can't be so indifferent to martial arts. Before being split in half by sword energy, the boss only had the last 2 words left in his mind after just 2 days of going online, hanging up. Xiao Hong calmly withdrew his sword, quietly closed the newly appeared game panel in his mind, and turned to look at Su Shi, who was already stunned. See, the world of cultivating immortals is very dangerous. He wiped off the non-existent sweat on his forehead and looked scared. Fortunately, I'm a little stronger than her, otherwise we would have to explain it here today. This is really a evenly matched battle. Su Shi. People say no. Big, senior brother. Su Shi, who had been unable to regain consciousness for a long time, quietly swallowed his saliva and spoke in an indescribable tone of respect. What kind of realm are you? Xiao Hong obediently scratched his head and said, practicing qi, don't you know? He sighed as he spoke, when can I break through and practice qi? Su Shi. I believe in your evil, your family's instant alchemy pill. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Honest Senior Brother. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Honest Senior Brother persuaded the junior sister. The 2 of them headed towards the task target of Haiyan village. Along the way, Su Shi was in various entanglements, looking at Xiao Hong with a complex and intricate gaze. Xiao Hong, however, seemed to have missed it and did not explain. As soon as he was asked, he showed an honest smile. I'm not trying to hide it from my junior sister, but he's not very good at explaining it. I can't say that although he's practicing qi, he's already full of experience, right? And he was busy packing up the spoils of war given by the beautiful spider. The beauty spider is still a boss, although it is the weakest type of boss in the early stage, the rewards given are still acceptable. Xiao Hong opened his game panel and saw that the experience section had changed from 30,000 to 30,100. And there is also a newly obtained item at the bottom of the panel, all of which are rewards for beautiful spider drops. Magic Spider Silk ×3. Spider silk dropped from a mysterious spider can be used to synthesize a bundle of fairy ropes after a certain amount. 3/199, Primary Shield X5. A primary shield that can withstand certain damage, with a chance to obtain wild monsters and dungeons. Stackable, Enchanting Fragrance X2. It can make people unconscious for an hour. Can only be used on people with lower cultivation than oneself. Universal Gold Coin ×3000. Currency circulating in mainland China. Tai Xian Sua. Xiao Hong knew that it was a divine level prop even in the later stages, because it could enhance with its own strength, making it a noble growth type prop. Although you can obtain fragments by brushing the low-level boss's beauty spider, it is very difficult to gather them all because beauty spider takes 7 days to refresh and each drop is in single digits. As for the primary protective shield, it can be considered the worst prop on the street in the early stage, and the damage it can withstand is quite limited, but the purpose of Xiao Hong's visit this time is it. Because of its stackable properties. Only beginner level, intermediate level, and advanced shields can stack, probably because the damage they can withstand is too limited. And Xiao Hong, I don't know if it's because he became an NPC, the experience he gained in this world has no limit. Unlike when players reach the upper limit, they must complete advanced tasks, otherwise they will not be able to gain experience. Experience is directly proportional to combat power, so this can be considered as a means of combat power for gamers, but it seems to be ineffective against NPCs. Similarly, for players, this basic shield can be stacked up to 3 layers at most, and any more layers will have an upper limit. Xiao Hong wants to try whether there is this upper limit for NPCs. So he chose to stack everything without even thinking about it. A burst of white light flashed by, and the symbol of the primary protective shield had become 5 layers. Xiao Hong was momentarily stunned, followed by ecstasy. Is there really no upper limit? Isn't he able to stack up infinitely? The most crucial thing is that many basic spells can be stacked. He seems to have a bug stuck. Xiao Hong was overjoyed and instinctively clicked to use it. A circle of protective shields slowly appeared on the handsome man in a white robe, shimmering with sparkling white light. Su Shi noticed the commotion and looked over, then froze for a moment. Senior brother. What is this? Xiao Hong glanced at her and said in confusion, you haven't learned basic protective techniques. Su Shi. Of course Su Shi has learned it. How could she not have learned this most basic technique? Just, why is senior brother doing such a basic spell so well? Su Shi, who already knew that her senior brother was hiding deep, had been hit many times. Now she dared not make any comments easily and just stared blankly at Xiao Hong. There is no magic that is useless, and even basic protective techniques are very powerful. Xiao Hong earnestly educated his junior sister. Su Shi nodded hesitantly and said, oh, I got it. Xiao Honggang was about to laugh and praise the young junior sister for being a good teacher, but a few sarcastic laughter came from not far away. Which sect's disciple is this? Even the basic protective skills are impressive. I've never seen the world before. The sound was too abrupt. Xiao Hong and Su Shi both heard the sound and looked around, only to see 2 people standing not far from them. A man and a woman, all dressed in black robes, with agile behavior, wearing curved swords around their waist, and dressed as practitioners. The mockery and ridicule were all made by the man, who was looking at Su Shi and Xiao Hong with disdain on his face, almost writing the 5 big characters, where did the beggar come from? The woman standing beside him, with cold eyebrows and eyes, didn't even glance at Xiao Hong and Su Shi, as if they were just 2 masses of air. Su Shi is a person with a bad temper. When she heard this, she was about to explode, but before she could speak, she was stopped by Xiao Hong. This Taoist friend's words are not accurate. There are no useless spells, only useless people. Even basic protective techniques can be very powerful. Xiao Hong looked at the man very seriously and said, but his serious explanation looked very silly. Seeing that Xiao Hong had no temper at all and didn't respond to being scolded, the man showed an even more disdainful expression. He could tell at a glance the cultivation of these 2 people, one was refining qi and the other was just building a foundation. It was really not impressive, no wonder even a beginner's spell felt powerful. That's impressive for people like you. Forget it, what do I have to say to you useless people? Sister you, let's go. The man sneered, too lazy to talk to them anymore, and pulled the woman next to him who had never seen them before to leave. Their backs quickly disappeared at the end of the road. Su Shi felt offended and glared at Xiao Hong with a hint of anger. Senior brother, why didn't you just let me scold you back? Can you not be so honest? We will be looked down upon if you are too honest. What's so arrogant? Just a little stronger than me, isn't it? Su Shi grumbled irritably, I hate it to death. I used to know from the mountain that my master brother respected the old and loved the young, had a kind heart, and was a first-class good person. But when it comes to dealing with people who mock oneself and being so honest, isn't that waiting to be bullied? Su Shi hates iron for not turning into steel. Xiao Hong glanced at the sulking junior sister and didn't explain that they might be more than a little stronger than her, just saying. They also went to Haiyan village. Su Shi said in confusion, how do you know? Xiao Hong smiled helplessly. Haiyan village was born out of thin air, located in a remote area with no residents for 100 miles. It appears here and is in the same direction as us, so we can only go to Haiyan village. A mysterious village full of dwarves appeared out of thin air, and naturally not only Lingwu Mountain but also one sect received news and would send people to check if it was true and normal. Then we should catch up with them soon. She suddenly became anxious and said, Master said that Haiyan village may have a chance, but don't let them take the lead. There is indeed a chance, but we still need to let them take the lead. Shi. What? Sushi's face was full of question marks. Since being with her senior brother, she often feels that her intelligence is not enough. Looking at the confused gaze of the junior sister, Xiao Hong patiently explained. If you have hidden treasures in your home and someone comes to inspect and try to steal them, would you agree? Shi. Of course not. That's fine then. Since nobody can get it like this, why should we let them take the lead? Because we need a bad person, the situation in Haiyan village is unclear. Let them go explore the way first and attract the villagers' attention, so that we can fish in troubled waters. She paused and said. Can we still play like this? Xiao Hong once again revealed his standard, honest smile. The Pathfinder stone that comes to our doorstep is not worth it, after all, honest people like to be more stable. Shi. What? Is the word honest person used in this way? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Creating opportunities without opportunities. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Creating Opportunities Without Opportunities. As a novice village for the upcoming players, how can Haiyan village do without any opportunities? Not only organic fate, but also Easter eggs. When the game was first promoted, there was a foreshadowing that the blind village chief had secrets. Xiao Hong only found out what the secret was when he had played through the later stages of his life. There is a special demon sealed under the Black Rock village, who is the son of the village chief. It is said that his abilities are particularly special. Xiao Hong explored for a long time in his previous life but still couldn't fully explore it. However, after completing the side quests of the Great Demon, there will be a welcome gift given to players. A system that predicts danger. However, players can be reborn repeatedly, at most losing money, experience, and equipment, making this system quite inadequate and ultimately used to calculate the pass rate of dungeons. But for Xiao Hong, who has already become an NPC and only has one life, this is very important. Xiao Hong's visit to Haiyan village this time, in addition to advanced tasks, has another goal, that is this system. The two of them were not in a hurry, so by the time they arrived at Haiyan village, the couple they had met earlier had already entered the village. In the dusk, a secluded village stands quietly among the mountains and forests. From the appearance, Haiyan village seems to be a very ordinary backward village, with earth walls and wooden doors, exuding a sense of dilapidation and antiquity everywhere. Sushi raised her foot and wanted to enter the village, but Xiao Hong quickly stopped the person. Facing the puzzled gaze of the junior sister, Xiao Hong directly pulled the person into the forest next to the village. Senior brother. She was very confused. Why don't we go in? Let's wait tonight, Xiao Hong said. We can't come to our doorstep voluntarily, otherwise we'll be no different from others. We'll only be guarded by the village and won't be able to find anything. So should we wait until tonight to sneak in? No, if you sneak in, you'll be too passive. The secrets are all hidden, and you won't be able to uncover anything. This is not enough, that is not enough. Sushi's already limited intelligence has been completely exhausted. She looked at Xiao Hong in confusion and said, what should we do? We will definitely be guarded if we take the initiative to enter the village, so we need to find a way to find an opportunity for them to invite us into the village. Sushi said extremely honestly, I didn't understand. Xiao Hong gave her a helpless glance and explained. If we come to our doorstep voluntarily, they will think we have ulterior motives, so they will definitely be on guard. The only way is to let them invite us into the village, so that they may have access to their secrets. She understands this truth, but how could they invite us into the village? 2 cultivators have just arrived in the village these days. They must be on guard and will never easily invite cultivators into the village again. Xiao Hong nodded and said, "That's true, so we need to wait for an opportunity. For example, if the village chief has an accident and we happen to save him, he is likely to invite us into the village." Su Shi. Is this probability too small? Well, the likelihood of such an accident happening on our own is too low, so we have to create it ourselves. Su Shi was confused and said, "Ah." Xiao Hong glanced at the gradually darkening sky and calculated that it was almost time. He casually took out 2 large black robes and hats from his personal space and threw them to Su Shi. "Put it on, let's go kidnap the village chief." Su Shi was stunned and said, "Ah." In the dark room, a short old man sat at a low wooden table with his back hunched, holding a rough cup in his hands. Under his gray hair were a pair of gray and lifeless eyes. "What are those 2 cultivators doing these days?" The old man's voice is hoarse and unpleasant, like sand rubbing against glass. Standing at the door was a middle-aged man of the same stature. Upon hearing the old man's question, he pondered for a moment and truthfully said, "They are exploring around the village." The old man sneered and said, "I knew it was restless. Look at the village chief, should we find a way to deal with them?" A hint of malice flashed on the middle-aged man's face. "Don't act rashly for now. Their disappearance will definitely attract more people and let them investigate casually. Anyway, they can't find anything. When they get tired, they'll naturally leave, don't worry." "Okay." The middle-aged man nodded and said hello before preparing to leave. However, as soon as he walked into the yard, he suddenly remembered something and turned back. "By the way, village chief, Amo has been." His voice came to a sudden halt because 2 more people suddenly appeared in the room. 2 people wearing black robes and hats, with their faces covered tightly, looked as if they were a man and a woman. When he came in, these 2 people happened to knock the village chief unconscious. Seeing him go back and forth, the man in a black robe waved at him as if greeting. "Villager." The villagers suddenly widened their eyes, not realizing what was going on. The 2 black-robed people had already lifted the village chief in front of him and jumped out of the window. But in the blink of an eye, they had already disappeared into the darkness. The whole movement flowed smoothly, as if there was a premeditated plan. 10 seconds later, a scream echoed through the entire village. For the first time doing such sneaky things, Su Shi was a bit nervous and excited when she even kidnapped a big living person. She listened to the chaotic movements of the village behind her and asked Xiao Hong with concern, "Senior brother, shouldn't we be so arrogant?" "It's okay, they don't know it's us." Su Shi nodded, her face still slightly red due to excitement, and her eyes were shining with admiration as she looked at Xiao Hong. Even she didn't realize that she had already followed Xiao Hongyan's advice without realizing it. Xiao Hong did not notice the change in the attitude of the junior sister. He carried the blind and unconscious old village chief with a clear goal towards the mountains. Su Shi followed him blindly, and then saw Xiao Hong leading people to a secret cave and tying the old village head into a zongzi. Su Shi was curious and said, "What is this for?" "Create accidents." Xiao Hong decisively threw the person into the depths of the cave, and then left with Su Shi. The old village chief had no cultivation and was still blind. Now he is tightly bound and cannot escape. Su Shi obediently followed Xiao Hong and asked curiously, "When are we going to save the village chief?" "Don't worry, lock him up for a few days." Su Shi. "What? Isn't he going to starve to death? He's just an ordinary person." Sigh. Su Shi widened her eyes in surprise. "Don't worry, I will send him water and food every day and won't let him die." The senior brother, who has always respected the elderly and loved the young, smiled kindly and said, "I am very kind." Su Shi. But why are we locked up for a few days? The longer he stays locked, the more nervous and afraid he becomes. This way, when we save him, he will be happier. I'm all doing this to make him happier. Who made me so understanding? Shi. She felt like something was not quite right, but she couldn't tell. Forget it, what kind of bad intentions can an honest person like her senior brother have? She must have thought too much. The little junior sister, who was deceived and crippled, thought so. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Splashing dirty water on idle time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Splashing dirty water on idle time. Xiao Hong said he was locked up for a few days, but he really locked him up for 3 days. The next day when they went to see the village chief, the little old man had already woken up and was quite tough, silent. Xiao Hong and Shi didn't speak either, only silently feeding him and leaving without any further pause. Moreover, Xiao Hong's arrival time is not fixed. Sometimes in the morning and sometimes at night, and only basic food is fed, regardless of anything else, and then at other times, we just keep an eye on the movements in the village. The village chiefs have all been taken away, and there has been a lot of chaos in the village these days, which can be described as flying chickens and dogs. After 3 days of this, at the end of the fourth day, when Shi could not help asking when to save the village head, Xiao Hong stared at the gradually quiet village and suddenly said, "It's time." Before Shi could react, Xiao Hong had already headed towards the cave. Not far from the cave, Xiao Hong seemed to have just come here, slowing down his pace and walking casually, as if he was just passing by. "Hey, junior sister, there's a cave here." Shi immediately reacted and nodded. "Really, there's a place to rest tonight." It seems that the two of them just happened to see a cave here and were ready to go in and rest. Xiao Hong deliberately hid the village chief in the deepest part, but he pretended not to go in to investigate and only rested with Shi near the cave entrance. The village chief was awake at this moment, but he didn't make any sound until the two of them entered the cave. Xiao Hong knew that although the village chief was blind, his hearing was particularly good. The village chief could hear both him and Shi's movements, and he remained silent because he was observing them. "Let's take a break, we still have to hurry tomorrow," Xiao Hong said, completely unaware that there was someone hidden inside the cave. Shi didn't know what he was going to do, but her advantage was that she was obedient and nodded honestly. "You sleep, I'll watch the night." "Okay." Night gradually fell, but until late at night, the village chief did not make any sound. Shi didn't know why, and Xiao Hong didn't explain either. He just sent her to sleep. When it was completely dark and about time for Mo Cho, Xiao Hong suddenly woke up Shi, who had fallen asleep, and lowered his voice, saying, "Little junior sister, wake up. Someone is coming." Shi looked at him with a bewildered expression on her face. Xiao Hong continued to whisper, "My master's spirit stone has brightened up for me. 2 cultivators are approaching us, moving quickly as if they are coming towards us." Shi. "When did the master give you the spirit stone? How come I don't know?" Without giving Shi a chance to react, Xiao Hong pulled her out and said, "Let's leave first." Shi. "What?" Shi had a bewildered expression on her face. Just as she was about to leave the cave, a shout from an old man suddenly came from deep inside the cave. "2 friends, wait." Xiao Hong paused in his footsteps and looked into the cave with suspicion. "Who is inside?" The old man spoke again, "I have been tied up here. I begged the little friend to lend a helping hand, and I will have a heavy thank you." Xiao Hong's eyes flashed with a hint of playfulness, but he pretended to hesitate on his face. In the end, he seemed to have set his mind on it and headed towards the cave. He saw the village chief bound in all sorts of ways and spoke in surprise, "Old man, what's going on?" The village chief looked anxious and said, "It's a long story. Could you please help me out? I'll explain to you when we're out." It seems that he was afraid that Xiao Hong wouldn't want to meddle in his affairs. He solemnly promised, "As long as you are willing to save me, I will have a heavy thank you. Xiao Hong whispered to Su Shi for a moment, but in the end, as if unable to bear it, he reached out and untied the rope from the village chief's body, his voice soft and comforting. Don't worry, old man. I'll take you away first. As he spoke, he picked up the frail and withered old man and quickly left the cave, moving quickly as if someone was really coming. The village chief was very nervous, with dull gray eyes staring at the boss and not daring to speak. Until Xiao Hong's movement stopped, he nervously asked, "Are you okay?" Well, those two people went to the cave and soon came out, as if looking for something. Now they are heading in the opposite direction to us. Xiao Hong is serious and talks nonsense out of nothing. The village chief breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing these words and asked, "What do those two people look like?" They were two black-robed men, wearing hats to cover their faces, as if they were a man and a woman with cultivation. Xiao Hong paused for a moment, as if thinking, oh yes, they seem to be wearing knives on their waists. They should be disciples of a certain sect. The village chief fell into silence, and Xiao Hong didn't urge him much. It wasn't until half a day later that the old man seemed to have figured something out and respectfully asked Xiao Hong. "Can you take me back, little friend? My house is not far away, and I will definitely repay you well then." Xiao Hong smiled and said shyly, "Don't be polite, old man. You can't see anything, I definitely won't leave you outside alone." The village chief was deeply moved and said, "Thank you then. But now let's find a place to rest, otherwise we'll be afraid of encountering those two people again." The village chief quickly nodded and said, "Okay." Su Shi was already staring on the side. She was not blind, knowing that there were no cultivators coming, but Xiao Hong pretended to be so serious. Watching the two quickly establish trust, Su Shi was confused and didn't know what to say. She secretly whispered to Xiao Hong, "Senior brother, what does this mean?" Xiao Hong said, "We are also a man and a woman. If we suddenly appear, this old man will suspect us, so we need to let him know who the kidnapper is so that he can trust us." She understands the truth, but aren't they the ones who kidnapped the old man? Who else can it be? Xiao Hong blinked at her and whispered, "Remember, from now on, it's not us who kidnapped the village chief, it's the two people we met on the road with knives on their waists." Su Shi. Misfortune flows eastward, right? Su Shi understood Xiao Hong's intention, but she didn't have much confidence in it. Since they entered the cave but the old man didn't make a sound, it indicates that the old man is very intelligent. How could he easily believe their one-sided words? A man and a woman with a knife on their waist, this feature is too obvious. Wouldn't the old man guess that they were framing thieves and shouting to catch them? After all, he didn't see anyone coming with his own eyes. After thinking about it for a while, Su Shi still felt that this method was not reliable, so she tentatively whispered, "Senior brother, I don't think it's very reliable." Su Shi shared her thoughts with Xiao Hong and then summarized, "I think the village chief may not trust us as much now. Removing the possibility, he really doesn't trust us now." Xiao Hong lazily smiled and said, "But as long as he goes back to the village, he will believe us." Su Shi. What does it mean? These days, I have been waiting every day for those two Taoist friends to be alone before delivering meals to the village chief. Although the village chief cannot see, he will definitely find a way to record the time. When he went back to check, he found that every time he brought himself food, those two Taoist friends happened to be missing, so he naturally knew who did it. Even just now when I said someone was following us, it's not nonsense. I saw those two people leaving the village, so I think I wanted to come out and find the village chief. Speaking of which, Xiao Hong smiled and said, "Otherwise, what do you think I'm squatting by the village every day watching? Watching the excitement. I'm not that bored." After watching the lively Su Shi for 3 whole days, she said, "Thank you, I have been offended." "No, didn't you say you locked up these 3 days just to make the village chief happier?" She suddenly thought of something and asked in confusion. Yeah, in order to make him happy, I even helped him find the person who kidnapped him. He must be so happy when he goes back. Xiao Hong let out a sigh and said, I'm really very understanding. Shi. Understanding people. Is that how it is used? Confused. JPG, end of this chapter. Chapter 7, do you call this a basic spell? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, do you call this a basic spell? Playing the entire set, Xiao Hong waited until the next morning, under the guidance of the village chief, to send the person back to Haiyan village. As soon as they entered the village, the villagers rushed forward upon hearing the news. Village chief, are you okay? Village chief. You have finally returned. Village chief, are you still alive? People chattered around the old village chief, and Xiao Hong and Shi were both pushed back by the crowd. Due to their height, the two of them stand out from the crowd. Xiao Hong raised his eyes and saw two people walking from afar who were also standing out among the crowd. Since your village chief has already returned, shouldn't you still suspect us? You better apologize to us quickly, otherwise. The man's threatening voice was tinged with annoyance, and the woman standing next to him remained expressionless, as if her face was paralyzed. These two were exactly the people Xiao Hong had met on the road before. I can't say for sure. One villager spoke coldly with a disgusted expression, who knows what you're thinking. After speaking, he looked at Xiao Hong with a grateful expression and said, thank you, little friend, for your help. This obvious difference in treatment made the man roll his eyes. I have nothing to say to you fools. And you only saw that one man and one woman kidnapped the village chief, maybe it was them who kidnapped him. Aren't they also one man and one woman? He clearly recognized Xiao Hong and Shi, and his hostility was undisguised. Shi was a bit nervous because this guy casually said it was the village chief they kidnapped. Xiao Hong, however, was not at all irritated by the piercing thoughts, and he still wore a harmonious smile on his face. This Taoist friend, you can't speak recklessly. Oh, who knows what you're thinking, maybe it's you who framed us. I warn you, it's better to be calm, otherwise you don't even know how you died. After speaking, he gave Xiao Hong a fierce glare and walked away with the face-paralyzed woman beside him who remained silent. Shi nervously tugged at Xiao Hong's clothes, feeling that the man's gaze was unfriendly and his hostility was almost undisguised. Xiao Hong patted the little junior sister's head as a consolation, but didn't take this little incident to heart. The two were arranged to rest at the village chief's house. This reflects the importance of Xiao Hong. The man and woman have been in the village for several days, and they can't even get close to the door of the village head's house. They moved in as soon as they arrived. Shi was very excited and wanted to explore the mysterious village head's house. Xiao Hong didn't care about her, but just locked herself in a room. He is studying card bug nesting dolls. Primary spells consume very little spiritual power, with hundreds of primary spells consuming less spiritual power than a high-level spell. However, similarly, their damage is also very low. Primary fire control is a spell that can also be stacked, with a maximum of 3 layers. When the first layer is used, it is a small flame that can be used as a match. After 3 layers, it will turn into a torch-sized flame that can illuminate the path. Xiao Hong is trying how many layers it can stack at most. When Shi entered the room, she saw the scene of Xiao Hong holding a small flame in his hand. At first sight, she saw that it was a primary fire control skill, and she felt like roast. Her senior brother is really strange. She has been practicing for over 100 years and still spends her days pondering basic spells. It's embarrassing to say so. However, Shi has learned to keep a low profile by repeatedly slapping her face these days. No matter how much she complains in her heart, she just doesn't see it on the face and shares the news she has heard with Xiao Hong. The two cultivators, the male named Li Hao and the female named Nalan Qingyue, are not sure which sect they belong to, but their strength seems to be superior to theirs. I asked the villagers, they've been sneaking around lately. It seems like they've found something. They should have found something. As Su Shi spoke, she walked to the window and stared at the darkness outside, feeling a little uneasy. It's strange that the village chief's house is at the innermost part of the village, with a whole dense forest connecting to the back. At night, the forest was pitch black and dark, as if there was something bad hidden, secretly peeking out. Senior brother, I feel like they are very wary of us, and Li Hao is even more hostile. They won't set us up, will they? Xiao Hong thought for a moment and nodded, it's possible. If they find something important and are afraid that we will also discover it, they may take action against us. Sushi became even more nervous upon hearing this. Li Hao and Nalan Qingyue are both stronger than her. If she really wants to take action against them, Sushi has no confidence in winning. What should we do, senior brother? I'll go, what are you doing? Sushi turned around and saw the huge fireball gathered in front of Xiao Hong. Her eyes widened and her face was full of disbelief. Due to excessive shock, her voice split apart. That fireball is as big as 4 or 5 heads, and its surface is filled with flowing magma. All the temperature and heat were compressed under the magma, so Sushi did not feel the temperature of the flames at all. But as long as you look carefully, you will find that every time a flame occasionally emerges from under the magma, cracks are burned out in the surrounding space, and terrifying waves are faintly spreading. Sushi has only been a beginner for 2 years and has not yet learned advanced fire control techniques. However, when she saw other senior brothers using them, the power she felt was not even half that of the fireball in front of her. So what kind of technique is this? How domineering. Xiao Hong looked at the stunned junior sister and smiled softly, this is the basic fire control technique. Have you never even seen this? Sushi. A question mark slowly popped up on Sushi's forehead. She seriously suspects that someone is bullying her for not studying enough and is deceiving her. Why, do you believe your expression? Xiao Hong sighed, this is really just a basic fire control technique. When did I deceive you, senior brother? Sushi slowly extended her hand and released a basic fire control technique in her palm. A small flame shot out in her palm, weak as if the wind was about to extinguish, trembling in front of the huge fireball across from her. Sushi held up this small flame, her small eyes filled with big doubts. Xiao Hong casually withdrew his spiritual power and dispersed the fireball, coughing uneasily. Maybe my fire control skills are a bit more proficient than yours, you just need to practice more. Sushi. Really? I feel like you're lying to me. This is indeed just an ordinary beginner fire control technique, it just adds 100 layers, isn't it considered deceitful? Xiao Hong thought confidently with this reasoning. Meanwhile, outside the window of the two. In the darkness, Li Hao listened to the discussion between the two people in the room, with an extremely sarcastic expression on his face. Senior sister I've already said that these two people don't pose a threat, they're just two useless people. Don't you believe me yet? You always know now. Men are not even good at building foundations, and women are useless. Just a basic fire control technique can surprise them so much. I don't know which family's disciple it is, it's really embarrassing. Nalan Qingyue's expression also softened, her voice cold and disdainful. I overestimated them. Follow the original plan and solve them tonight. Don't let them ruin things. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Ambush. Traps. Small problem. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Ambush. Traps. Small problem. Ignoring the stunned expression of the junior sister, Xiao Hong practiced several other basic spells that could be stacked. By the time he became proficient, it was already late at night outside. The junior sister lives next door to him, and she has already gone back at this point. Otherwise, seeing these basic spells from him would make her feel uncertain. Xiao Hong stretched lazily and was about to rest when someone knocked on the door. He opened the door and saw that the person who came was actually the village chief. "Are you still used to living here?" Upon hearing the door open, the village chief gave a strange smile and said, "I'm here to thank you. The kindness of saving your life is priceless. I've thought it over and over again, and I've decided to give you a gift." In the middle of the night, a blind old man stood silently in front of the door, muttering that he would give you a gift. This scene was really interesting. "You're welcome. What are you planning to send?" The blind village chief slowly pulled out a crystal-clear tile from his arms. "Although I don't know what its purpose is, it is indeed very precious. I have been carefully keeping it, but unfortunately, I haven't cultivated it and can't understand its mysteries." The village chief sighed and said, "Now that I am giving him as a gift to my friend, whether I can understand it or not depends on your nature." Xiao Hong suddenly felt that the thing in his hand was a bit hot. He certainly knows what this is. It is the key to unlock the secret dungeon of Haiyan village. Compared to the novice village of Haiyan, where the villagers have little cultivation, the dungeons outside the novice village are much more brutal. This is also the first hurdle that players need to overcome in order to step out of the novice village. The entrance to the dungeon is located in the deep mountains behind the village head's house. When players level up in the novice village and prepare to leave, this mission will be triggered. The task is not difficult, but it is a multiplayer dungeon. Basically, after reaching the foundation of the novice village, you can call on more than 10 relatives and friends to besiege it together. However, as the first instance of the player's strategy, he has abundant rewards and is a treasure guarded by Haiyan village for so many years. But now, the village chief handed him the key to the treasure. Is this a coincidence? How could the village chief not know what this thing represents? Xiao Hong was a bit indecisive, and by the time he realized it, the village chief had already left. Upon hearing the commotion, Su Shi was looking curiously at the tiles in his hand. "What is this? It's shiny and shiny. This is the key that can unlock the greatest opportunity in Haiyan village." Su Shi. Su Shi. The neighboring Taoist friends have been searching around for so long but haven't found anything, but they have already obtained the key to the largest secret realm in less than a day. What kind of fairy script is this? Seeing Su Shi beaming with joy, Xiao Hong sighed. It's not that simple. Xiao Hong combined his understanding of the village chief and pondered for a while before finally coming to a conclusion. This is a trap. The village chief was indeed not confident enough with them, even though he already felt that the kidnappers were Li Hao and Nailan Qinyue, he still doubted the purpose of Xiao Hong and Su Shi coming here. He deliberately threw the key as bait, probably to see if Xiao Hong and Su Shi were heading towards their treasure. Xiao Hong dares to guarantee that going to the dungeon at this time and waiting for him is definitely not a treasure. And even if he doesn't go, the seeds of suspicion have already been planted, and with the key in his hand, the village chief will keep an eye on him. This key is a hot potato. It's really troublesome. Just as Su Shi was feeling smug and Xiao Hong was working hard to think of solutions, a series of faint sounds suddenly came from outside the house. Xiao Hong, Su Shi. Vaguely, it seemed as if someone was calling their names. Su Shi looked up and looked out the window in confusion, only to see a figure in the distance waving at her. "Senior brother, someone outside is calling us." Xiao Hong also came to the window and frowned as he looked outside. "Who is this person, Li Hao?" Su Shi was a bit strange. "He called us in the middle of the night, isn't he trying to harm us?" "Be more confident, he just wants to harm us." Xiao Hong only glanced at it and came to a conclusion. "I knew it." Su Shi widened her eyes and said, "I don't know which sect this Li Hao belongs to. He always thinks about crooked ways. There is competition between them for the task in Haiyan village, but Li Hao and Nalan Qinyue clearly do not want fair competition anymore. It's okay, go see what they have prepared. Yes, we absolutely can't be fooled, just hide in the house and don't leave. Halfway through Su Shi's words, she suddenly realized what Xiao Hong was saying, and her eyes widened as she said, "What did you say?" Xiao Hong is already walking outside. Su Shi. What kind of route is this? We all know it's a trap and we still have to go over it. Even though we know there are tigers on the mountain, we're leaning towards the Tiger Mountain. Su Shi was stunned for a moment, feeling extremely conflicted in her heart, but she still followed suit and said, "Senior brother, wait for me." The two of them left the room, one in front and one behind. It was already late at night, and the light outside was very poor. With a little moonlight, they could roughly see the figure moving ahead. It's like deliberately guiding them towards the depths of the forest. When they reached the depths of the forest, the figures flickered and disappeared, followed by countless faint figures surrounding them. Su Shi felt like she was already surrounded in just a blink of an eye. I can't see clearly what those figures are, I can only hear the low growls of wild beasts emanating from their mouths. Demons and ghosts. Xiao Hong looked at those ferocious faces under the moonlight, not surprised. Demons and ghosts are the main leveling monsters in the Black Rock Village area. Their level is not high, but they have a large number. What is it? Su Shi's voice became tense, indicating that the girl was very nervous. Monster and ghost, half demon and half ghost, a kind of monster without a spirit. There were more and more people, almost densely packed, and she couldn't even see her head at a glance. Su Shi looked at her and her head grew bigger. "Big, senior brother, what should I do?" "It's okay, it's a small problem." "How can this be considered a minor issue? These people have the lowest cultivation level for qi cultivation, and even many have reached the level of building foundations. Moreover, the number of them is so large that they were drowned." Su Shi was running around in a hurry, and couldn't help but complain about Xiao Hong in her heart. Why rush to jump inside even though you know it's a trap? What is this senior brother thinking all day long? Unfortunately, complaining too much now is useless. Su Shi took a deep breath and was prepared to go all out. The more she thought about it, the more aggrieved she became. She complained to Xiao Hong, "I will never listen to your nonsense again." As soon as she turned around, she saw Xiao Hong slowly raising his hand. At some point, a huge arc had already formed in his hand. The arc, which is bigger than a human's head, emits a dangerous buzzing sound like a small sun in the darkness. With a wave of his hand, he flew out like an arc of lightning, flipping over a monster that was neither human nor ghostly. Various mournful screams kept coming and going. Su Shi. Su Shi widened her eyes and exclaimed in shock, "What spell is this?" This is the first time she has seen Master Brother use this advanced technique. If you can stay on the mountain for over 100 years, you must have a trump card. Why hasn't she seen this technique before? This. Xiao Hong scratched his head and said, "You haven't learned the technique of controlling thunder." Su Shi. She really didn't learn the thunder control spell because she felt it was too low level and cumbersome, wasting time, so she skipped it directly. But who can tell her, why is this lightning control technique so strong? Just flipping through a large area in one go. Shocked junior sister for 100 years. I've already said it, a small question. Oh, by the way, what did you just say? You won't do anything again. I didn't hear you clearly. Su Shi. Su Shi swallowed her saliva and said, "I said I will definitely listen to you well in the future. Senior brother, you are mighty." Xiao Hong showed an elder-like loving smile. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Reciprocity and Reciprocity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Reciprocity and Reciprocity. Demons and ghosts belong to Yin, while fire and thunder are the most powerful. After Xiao Hong's lightning control skills were mastered, a dense array of demons and ghosts stumbled in all directions. A faint aroma of grilled meat permeated the entire forest. Su Shi was really hungry. Hundreds or even thousands of demons and ghosts, she didn't take any action, and Xiao Hong solved them in just a few seconds. This left her in a deep confusion. Senior brother is so powerful, how could he only have qi refining cultivation? But judging from the aura he revealed himself, it was indeed only about refining qi, but he had previously used refining qi to sequence the golden elixir so she couldn't see through his eccentric senior brother anymore, but there was no doubt that the spell he had just used was very strong, the strongest spell Su Shi had ever seen in all this time of cultivation. But such a powerful spell, she had never heard of it before, but the process of cultivation is really complicated. Is it because everyone dislikes the trouble of cultivation, so they didn't learn it, but in fact, thunder control is a rare and powerful spell? No, we have to learn when we go back. Su Shi secretly made a decision in her heart, and her desire to complete the task became even more urgent. Quickly investigate this dilapidated village and then go back. She needs to go back and learn how to control thunder. She needs to practice hard. With this in mind, Su Shi wanted to urge Xiao Hong to explore the Black Rock village today, as she had already obtained the keys. As soon as she turned around, she found that the shining tiles that Xiao Hong had been holding in his hand were missing. Senior brother, where's your tile? Xiao Hong casually pointed to the fleeing demons and ghosts and said, I don't know who took it from them. Su Shi. Su Shi slowly widened her eyes and became anxious. Then let's hurry up and chase after it. How could we lose such an important thing? She was about to rush out, but was stopped by Xiao Hong. It's okay, this is a gift I gave them in return. They sent demons and ghosts to play with us in the middle of the night, and we also gave them a gift. It's a reciprocal gesture. Su Shi. Although, is reciprocity used in this way? And this is the key to opening the secret realm. What's wrong with giving this away? Big brother, have you lost your mind? As if sensing Su Shi's unspoken voice, Xiao Hong chuckled lightly. This tile is not a good thing, it was used by the village chief to test us. The door opened with it must not be a treasure, it will only be dangerous. Li Gongzi took so much trouble to lure us over in the middle of the night, so we naturally want to give him a gift in return. Su Shi finally reacted and said, is the river of disaster spreading eastward? Xiao Hong smiled warmly and said, helping others is just a pleasure. They obviously went for this secret, so let's give them the key, after all, how understanding I am. Su Shi. Suddenly, I can't look directly at the word understanding. Her senior brother is really kind. Alright, let's go back and file a complaint. Su Shi was confused and said, confession. Confession what? The tiles have been taken away, of course we have to report to the village chief. But wasn't that intentionally given to them by you? So what, anyway, the tiles were taken away by them, just file a complaint. You see, we were lured out in the middle of the night, surrounded by demons and ghosts, and our treasures were robbed. Of course, we need to talk to the village chief about this great injustice. As Xiao Hong spoke, he made his hair and clothes messy and forcibly damaged them in battle. Su Shi. Su Shi was completely unable to look directly. It was clearly they who took the initiative to follow and beat up the demons and ghosts, and even pushed tiles over to divert trouble from the east. But when it came to Xiao Hong's mouth, they suddenly became so pitiful in the depths of the jungle. Li Hao watched as the various demons and ghosts walked back unsteadily, suppressing the fear in his heart. He whispered to the woman beside him. Senior sister Yu, why did they all come back? Nalan Qingyue's face was pale, and her whole body visibly weakened. She pursed her lips and looked at the pile of demons and ghosts in front of her, with an unattractive expression. There are too many, I can't control it. It seems like something happened just now, they broke free from my constraints. Nailan Qingyue has a rare talent, which is the ability to control creatures in the underworld. However, because her own strength is too low, the strength of the underworld she can control is quite limited. Although these demons and ghosts are not very powerful, their numbers are too many. Nailan Qingyue controlled very reluctantly, and just now, these demons seemed to be greatly stimulated and crazily broke free from her constraints. She didn't know what had happened, she only felt a very fearful emotion from those demons and ghosts. Maybe there was an accident, Nailan Qingyue said with an unpleasant expression. She told Li Hao about the situation just now, without hiding her worries. Are you afraid that those two guys will drive away all these demons and ghosts? Li Hao looked contemptuous and said, you've thought too much. With so many demons and ghosts, how can they have this ability? One is practicing qi, and the other has just arrived at building a foundation. What can we do with this strength? There are not thousands or hundreds of demons and ghosts we send out, and even a scratch can kill them. Senior sister, I know you like to be cautious, but don't look up to them too much. The ominous feeling in Nailan Qingyue's heart finally disappeared completely under Li Hao's persuasion. She reached out her hand and a demon and ghost rubbed against her, holding something in its arms. Nailan Qingyue took out what was in his arms and found it to be a shining tile. What is this? Li Hao immediately leaned in. The demon said, it seems like a key that can open the secret realm. Nailan Qingyue frowned, her tone uncertain. She and Li Hao arrived at this strange village early on, but the group of village residents were just like thieves, they couldn't find any information. Because she was able to communicate easily with the underworld, it was only through countless hardships that she learned a little bit of the secret of this village. But who can tell her why Xiao Hong has already obtained the keys to the final secret realm in less than a day? Li Hao quickly realized this and his face looked ugly for a moment, but he quickly understood and a disdainful expression appeared on his face. Who knows what kind of bad luck they had and obtained the keys? Anyway, they must have died without any residue left by now, and they are truly unworthy of virtue. So what if we get the key? It's just a waste, isn't it still ours in the end? Nailan Qingyue always felt something was not quite right in her heart, but she couldn't say it. Li Hao is also right. Even if they are lucky and have many trumps, their own strength is their biggest weakness. How could they still be alive after being surrounded by so many demons and ghosts? Thinking of this, Nailan Qingyue also felt at ease. I really value them too much. Shall we go and unlock the secret realm now? Li Hao is very excited. The thought that he was about to reveal the biggest secret of Haiyan village and obtain the treasure they had guarded for many years made Li Hao uncontrollably excited. Nailan Qingyue gently shook her head. In just over an hour, the sky is about to break. It's too late. Come back tomorrow night. Li Hao was a bit unwilling, but also knew that it was not time for him to be stubborn, so he nodded and agreed. He kept comforting himself in his heart. Anyway, tonight's goal has been achieved. Xiao Hong, that annoying useless person, has died and received the key to the secret realm, which is an unexpected joy. It's simply a bountiful harvest. Of course, the most crucial thing is that Xiao Hong has died. God knows how much he hates that pretentious person. Although I am only a practitioner of qi, I have shown such calm and composed behavior. Now, it's okay. I'm so dead that I don't even have any residue left. As expected, pretending to be forced is about to be trampled on. Li Hao thought with great joy. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The village chief finally discovered a misunderstanding. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The village chief finally discovered a misunderstanding. Li Hao hates Xiao Hong very much, even though they don't have much intersection. If you insist, they actually only have two sides. But it was these two meetings that made Li Hao very disgusted with Xiao Hong. Li Hao really doesn't understand. Xiao Hong is just a trash to practice his energy. Where did he come from with such a calm and confident confidence when talking to him? He seems to be quite impressive, but isn't he just a broken alchemy? However, it should be said that it was also because Xiao Hong appeared too ordinary and abnormal when facing them that Nailan Qingyue noticed. Nailan Qingyue has great talent and special abilities, ranking far above him. He is also the decision-maker for this mission. Unlike her beautiful appearance, Nailan Qingyue is actually a decisive person. After communicating with the underworld, she discovered that there was a huge secret hidden in Haiyan village, and then clarified her goal. She was determined to acquire the treasure of Haiyan village. Along the way, I met Xiao Hong and Su Shi. Originally, their strength did not pose any threat to Nailan Qingyue, but Xiao Hong's performance made Nailan Qingyue a little more wary. Nailan Qingyue was also decisive and discovered uncertain factors, so she had to solve them directly before the task began, which is why tonight's issue came out. Although Li Hao felt that there was no need to make such a big fuss over a small waste during the refining period, he was still very happy to kill Xiao Hong. Even cleared away his previous depression. It's much more pleasing to see those ignorant and foolish villagers. When it was completely dawn, Li Hao went out to search for Lan Qingyue and prepared to study the terrain of the back mountain with her during the day, laying the groundwork for the evening plan. Unexpectedly, just as he left, a couple of men and women walked towards him. A couple who are very familiar to him, he hates them very much, and theoretically, they have already passed away last night. Li Hao was stunned when he saw them. What's going on? Did he feel dizzy? Shouldn't these two people have already died last night? And it's still the kind that has been devoured by demons and ghosts without any remaining bones, so who are these two people standing in front of him now? Li Hao widened his eyes and looked as if he had seen a ghost in the daytime. Xiao Hong and Su Shi saw him and politely nodded at him. Xiao Hong even showed him a warm smile like an elder. Good morning. Xiao Hong warmly greeted him and said, Xiao Li is so early, very hardworking. Li Hao. Li Hao didn't know for a moment whether to shock this person first and why he didn't die, or to slap him in the face first and angrily scold him for not using the tone of elders lecturing younger generations to talk to him. But just as he was conflicted, Xiao Hong had already signaled his junior sister to leave, as if greeting was really just a passing remark. The feeling of disdain that didn't take him seriously rushed over Li Hao's face, and for a moment, he was filled with passion and couldn't care about anything. Stop me. As the two passed by, Li Hao reached out to grab his shoulder, but he didn't know if it was a slip or something, so he brushed past Xiao Hong's body. Li Hao was stunned for a moment, but Xiao Hong had already turned to look at him. Do you have anything else to do? Xiao Hong's expression remained kind, even the curvature of his mouth remained unchanged, which made Li Hao feel even more belittled and surprisingly angry. What are you pretending to be? Li Hao glared angrily at Xiao Hong, his eyes filled with resentment. Aren't you just a broken practice chi? You're such a trash, and you deserve to be on par with me. He released his aura, which was far beyond the cultivation of chi, and even faintly surpassed the posture of building foundations and reaching the golden elixir. It seems that he is only one step away from breaking through the golden elixir. This strength is much stronger than Su Shi, who has just broken through the foundation building. Feeling his malicious pressure, Su Shi's face turned pale and she couldn't say a word. On the other hand, his strength was not even as good as Su Shi's. Only Xiao Hong, who was practicing qi, seemed to have been unaffected by everything. So you don't like me looking at you in the same light, Taoist friend? I told you earlier. Xiao Hong smiled shyly, straightened his waist slightly, and looked down at Li Hao, who was shorter than him, with a casual tone. I used to think that you were a bit short in height, my friend. However, I was afraid that you might be overthinking me, so I even looked at you from an angle. But if you didn't like it, I had to look down on you. Xiao Hong looks like I'm considering you, but what he says is as infuriating as it is. Alright, Taoist. If it's okay, I'll leave first. We still need to go find the village chief for something. Speaking of which, I think the village chief must have misunderstood you. I will definitely help you talk to the village chief carefully. Li Hao. Li Hao almost thought he had heard wrong. Everyone thought they were responsible for the kidnapping of the village chief, but this person claimed that the village chief had misunderstood them. Does Xiao Hong believe him? But does he have such kindness? Li Hao's mind was full of doubts, but Xiao Hong was not prepared to explain to him. He smiled friendly at him and then pulled Su Shi's leg, trembling, and walked away. Li Hao saw the backs of these two people walking further and further, until they completely disappeared. It was then that he suddenly realized that he wanted to cause trouble for them. How could he let them go? He couldn't have been fooled, could he? No one would be so idle talking to home. What else are you saying to go find the village chief? Can they have such kindness? He must have been deceived. How could someone be so cunning? Li Hao was so angry that his mind was buzzing with excitement, feeling like he had been played with. The fire in his heart grew stronger and stronger, and he wished he could catch up with them and fight to the death. But he was also afraid of startling the snake and delaying his actions until night, so he had to constantly comfort himself. It's okay, if you're not dead, then you're not dead. You're just a little useless person practicing qi. Anyway, the keys in their hands have already been snatched, and in the end, they still benefit. Yes, as long as you can obtain the hidden treasure in Haiyan village, Xiao Hong and Wang Hong are just floating clouds. It's just a small practice of qi, and you can easily beat them to death when you turn around. Thinking of this, Li Hao felt a little better and went to find Nailan Qingyue. He told Nailan Qingyue about his encounter in the morning, and Nailan Qingyue indeed urged him not to make any unnecessary mistakes. They were attacked by demons and ghosts, and they also stole their keys. He can't do anything to us, even if he suspects it, there is no evidence. But if we jump out at this moment, we're just not admitting ourselves. We're just two insignificant people, let's leave it at that moment. Nailan Qingyue said so. Li Hao nodded in agreement. However, just as they were focused on preparing for the night's operation, some villagers came to them, saying that the village chief wanted to see them. This is really rare. Since the village chief was kidnapped and returned, he has never seen them again. Obviously, he has determined from the bottom of his heart that it is they who kidnapped him. For those who kidnap themselves, they naturally won't give a good face, but now they suddenly say they want to see them. What are you seeing them do? It can't be that the real kidnapper has been found. Come and apologize to them, right? Upon careful consideration, it seems that it's also possible. End of this chapter.